My name is Casey Samson, and this is the final video in our 4 video package of the 4 pillars of selling your home or a successful listing. So at first we went through and we talked about how important it was that magic 10 days. That's when you get the highest price for your house, highest price per square foot, most contracts, most leverage over the buyers, fewest contingencies. We went on with how you price a house, not the what the house is worth, but how you arrive at the price, and why our system was 97% accurate and the online websites were only about 10% accurate. Then we moved on to preparing the house, how you get the house ready for sale. You take it from a traditional to a transitional look. It doesn't cost a lot of money. You basically focus on cosmetic items that return $7 for every $1 invested. Then we moved on to marketing, and marketing is a whole new ballgame. We don't just put homes on the MLS system. We take those homes and we go into MLS, but go after all the realtors that have stored searches. Then we go after the buying public, both domestic and international, whether it's your neighbors around the neighborhood or around the world. Our sophisticated marketing online can find all of that. So, we go to our marketing stuff, the renters and the neighbors and the online social media. Now we come to one of the most important parts. And I know you've heard me say that about everything because they're all very important. But, 2020 was a weird year, and we knew it was going to be weird from the very beginning. Back in February, we knew something was up, so we had to switch immediately to online studios, Zoom presentations to sellers, something that they could understand. And to be honest with you, the Zoom was a huge boon to sellers understanding concepts of pricing, preparing the home, marketing, et cetera. So it was a wonderful, wonderful change. So we also developed the hands-free listings where buyers could walk in, they wouldn't touch anything, they would be in and out. Didn't have one problem all year with a COVID issue. So that was fairly successful. But by far the number one thing that came out of 2020 and the COVID crisis was the predictive analysis. So I started thinking in February that we're in a historic time. I don't know anymore how the market is going to react to this than you do. We weren't really sure. So what I needed to do was I needed to develop a predictive analysis to tell me, is the market out there? Do I have enough in the buyer pool? Do they like the property? Are agents buzzing? Are they talking about it? Are we going to get any contracts or not? So I needed to know whether our price, our staging, our marketing, whether it was working. So I formed a predictive analysis that we're going to go over today. And it has been absolutely, the only word I can use is game changer for both our team and our sellers. So let me get to that right now. Okay. So the first thing we did with the predictive analysis, we shifted our launch from when we launched the listing live to the coming soon launch. We made the coming soon period a lot more valuable. So what we did was we said, we need all pictures, all staging, all marketing, everything. When we launch a house in coming soon, it should be just as if we were launching it in 2019 and before as live. So I could get a read on the market during this 7-day coming soon period. And I knew coming out whether we were on the right number or not on the right number. I felt it was valuable. I think that when sellers list a house with me or with us, with my team, with Julie and Pat and Kelly and Morgan, I think they're trusting us with their home. It's one of their biggest assets. They trust me to get the maximum amount of money out of that house. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So the predictive analysis helped me, helped us, helped our team and our sellers decide, are we at the right price or are we not at the right price? So let's take a look at what's going on. In 2020, we listed 74 houses and sold 72. So that's a 97% success rate. Now, we do houses all the way from Arlington to Percyville, and all rules apply on every house. But the majority, we do $60 million in Vienna and Oakton, and most of that is over $1 million. So I wanted to see, is everybody experiencing the same success rate as we are in Vienna homes over $1 million? And if you look at this chart, only 51% of the homes sold over $1 million. Now, when you go to 1.3 million, only 40% of the homes, which is 6 homes out of 10, withdrew unsold. Why is that? Well, a couple things. One, they're overpriced. We already talked about that when we talked about the pricing engines giving people false reads on what a home is worth. Another thing is realtors want that listing. They want a listing over 1.3, $1.4 million because that's a huge advertising tool for them. They have signs in the front yard. They have ads in the newspaper. They go online on Facebook and can tell people they've listed houses. They're looking for buyers and sellers. And to be honest with you, maybe they feel their price is comfortable. But the fact is only 40% of the homes, and these are top producers that put them on, sold in 2020. So the next thing I looked at was how many sold in that first 30 days, because once it goes beyond 30 days, we know that price is starting to fall. So 90% of our homes sold in the first 30 days. Even for us is remarkable. 97% for us, off the charts. So it tells me that the predictive analysis is working, the preparing the home, it tells me that everything is working. The 90% sold in 30 days is also off the chart. We did $92 million last year. So for us to have that percentage of homes sell in the first 30 days was remarkable. And the next one is how many homes sold in the first 10 days. And that is the magic period where you get the max amount of money. And almost 80%, almost 8 out of 10 of our houses sold in the first 10 days. So considering we do a lot of over millions and over 1.3 million, that's pretty tight. Our 1.6 sold when they should, 1.4 sold when they should. So if we look down here, when you get to the 10-day homes that sold in the first 10 days, over $1 million, only 1 out of 5 homes sold in the first 10 days. And that is, again, when you get your highest price. Now, an agent may say, well, you don't want to give the house away, so let's make sure we pump that price up. That's wrong. The longer the house is on the market, the less money you're going to get. If we go over 1.3 million, the track record on that is horrible for the rest of Vienna. 11%, 1 out of 10 homes sold over 1.3 million in Vienna in 2020. So in my opinion, these numbers are unacceptable, and I credit this to pricing, getting the homes ready, having sellers that were willing to work with us. If a seller wanted to list his house way out of the market, we just wouldn't take the listing. So, the sellers would understand what the price is, what the value is. We'd come to an agreement. I don't price houses. I just give recommendations. The sellers put the price on the house, but I just give recommendations. Okay. So let's take a look at what this predictive analysis is. You wouldn't walk onto a highway without looking both ways first. So I couldn't see launching a house into a market that I had no visibility in. I needed that visibility. Go back 7 days. Let's launch it from coming soon. And then let's take a look at what we get. Okay. So, the first stop is the MLS. And because people have stored searches, I don't know how many before we put it in. But once we do a coming soon, we start to see how many people, these are the agents that have stored searches. This is the amount of buyers that opened the page up and looked at it. This is the number that I'm most focused on is, are the buyers receptive and saying, this is my favorite property? Now, when you look at favorite properties, that is a good indicator of how many contracts I'm going to get. So trust me, if I put a house in it coming soon and I have one, I'm talking to the seller. Now, in this case, Heathland went off at 1.65. They knew that price was off, but they wanted to test it for 30 days. No problem. We then moved it to 1.6, which was my recommendation, and it sold. So even though I can tell you what the market is saying, people could still try if they want. But the fact is that the price is where the price was. Once we get to that, the homes usually sell. So this is a first indicator. Let me show you some other indicators we have here. And this is our current dashboard, if you will, of the listings. It's early January, so we don't have many, but they're all pending. This well house was just launched last week. Now, during its coming soon period, it was on for $699. It had 676 stored I'm sorry, 733 stored searches for this house. Pretty good indicator there's a big market out there. A stored search is when a realtor says, I have a client, they're looking for this house. If this type house comes on the market, send it to us. These are called perfect buyers. You're going to see it real quick. You're going to see it in the first 2 days how many people are going to favor and love the house and look at it. So within 2 days, I know the outcome of where our price should be. In this case, we had 17 people love it. We had 676 people open it. Pretty strong indicator. I'm on the number, because what happens is we track those numbers. Let me get back to this. We track those numbers, and I can see that based on the number of contracts that come in, it will generate a certain number of, based on the number of favorites, which is in blue, I can see how many contracts that home produced. So in this case, Well House was in there. It had 17 people that liked it. It had 9 contracts. So before we even launched, I went to Pam and I said, Pam, here's your deal. You got 17 people that looked at it. I'm going to show you some other indicators. I anticipate you'll get about 9 contracts, and the price should come in somewhere around $725 to $735. So the contracts came in as predicted. The price came in as predicted. There is no home inspection. There is no financing contingency, and there is no appraisal. So in that first 10 days, you get the highest price, you get the best contracts. These are what we call the perfect buyers. So let's get back to some other indicators. The MLS is one, but I've had occasions where, I'm not getting a lot of love on the MLS. So then we go to phase 2, and that is social media. So social media, we go out, and it doesn't mean just putting your home up on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Whatever. And that is only the basis of this. So if you look, this is my dashboard for my social media. So this is that house. This is Well House right here. And it shows me that 124 people organically looked at it, but we boost them to a targeted market using what's called geofencing. Now, geofencing says, I'm looking for families with these kids in this size, looking for elementary schools. They work in this area. They make this amount of money. We know our buyers and where they're coming from, so we can target those buyers. If somebody's looking at a house in Vienna for $700,000, show them this house. That's Google Ads. So, we will literally go out, and if you're looking for a house in the perimeters, not in Herndon, we will show you this house in either your Washington Post, Facebook, Instagram, Wall Street Journal feed. In fact, this is so powerful that sometimes this overrides the MLS. Sometimes I know my buyers are not coming local. They're coming either nationally, domestically, or they're coming internationally. So the bottom line here is only 124 people were looking at this organically. But when we boosted it to using geofencing, using Google Ads, we had 7,896 people look at that ad. We had 28 people organically click through to the ads webpage, and we had 2,500 people click through and at least look at more pictures or get farther into this property. So not only was the MLS blowing up, but now I see that social media is blowing up. I mean, we would have settled for 250 people clicking through, and now we're at 2,500. So is the market out there? Sure. The market's out there in droves. We knew it before we started. And so that's where we are. Now, why then wouldn't we go to that house and bump the price? We are already at the maximum appraised value for that house. It has 3 bedrooms. It has a pool. That's a turnoff for many buyers. So, every house is unique. Every house has its good parts, its bad parts. So we needed to know, we needed to get as many people in here as possible. And let's say we go off at 750 and we finally get it. Well, number one, we wouldn't get it because we had 49 people look at the house. We received 9 offers, and the highest best offer was in that range we were talking about. So our job as realtors, get as many people in the house as possible, get as many contracts in as possible, and then have the market dictate where that final price is going to be. So when we look at this, we can click through to the website, and I can see that this house has been seen this many times, had 28 people either like it or love it. I see no comments, which is not a good sign for me, and I see no shares. So am I impressed with this? Not necessarily. I can see that we had 2,487 post clicks, but this tells me, there's not that much love for that, which really says your clients are coming domestically. They're coming from that neighborhood. They're looking in that area. So MLS is the driver on this. Now, I had a house that was not getting any love in the MLS hit count, that there weren't a lot of people favoring that house, and it wasn't a big buyer pool. And in fact, there were 7 houses on the market with an average days on market that we were competing with an average days on market of 110. Not exactly a warm and cozy feeling. But when we put it out on social media, we found buyers from New York and the West Coast, and we found buyers from everywhere. And we had an incredible response, social media, on a national, international level. So not only did we launch it at the $1.6 million, but I bet Marty Volk at the Vienna Inn 250 chili dogs that these houses aren't selling, and I'm going out at 1.6 million, and I'll sell mine within the first 10 days. So we made the bet, 250 Vienna Inn chili dogs. I was going to pay for them anyways because I'm trying to help Marty out. So we go off, we sell the house, we sell it in the 9th day, and we sell it to a person that was looking for a $1.6 million house in McLean. Google Ads picked up on him, sent the ad to his Wall Street Journal feed. He was in a penthouse in New York, fell in love with the house, got in on a plane, came down here, met his realtor, and bought that house. So sometimes this is the driver of whether I feel we're at the right price, price or not, whether I think we have enough buyer pool to go after that price. So the other thing I look at is the website. So as you know, if you've seen our videos, we create these beautiful websites for your house, and they have all the information from hot sheets, what improvements that you've made, what your favorites are, all the pictures, all the maps, the schools, all that information. So what we're trying to do is drive people to that website. Well, in this case, we have, this is Google Analytics, and this is that particular web page. So we only had 80 people come to the web page, but they did stay for 4.5 minutes, or 4 minutes, 17 seconds. So these numbers are important to me. But on that house from New York, we had hundreds of people coming in here, and they were staying for 4 or 5 minutes. So I felt strongly when I saw this that I'm going to launch regardless of the MLS. On this, again, does not show strong buyer pool coming in, looking at the webpage, but the people that are here are staying for a good long time. So then I'll go to the 4th thing that I do in my predictive analysis. It's still the Tuesday before launch. We haven't gone anywhere yet. So now I go to an appointment center, and I will look on showing time, how many agents are registered to show the house once it gets launched. 48 agents. Now I'm hoping for 15, 48 agents. So again, this is confirmation that our buyers are coming, and they're coming in a big way from the local area. Okay. Now we send out cards to renters. We send out brochures to neighbors. So we do all of this during the coming soon period. So you and I can now see, consider yourself the seller on this property, that we have 17 people on the MLS looking at it. The social media is lukewarm. The web page is good. I mean, we don't have a huge following, but we do have, 4 minutes a person staying in there, which is a good sign for me. We do have 48 agents, and we always consider ourselves we always consider the amount of agents that show in relation to the contracts. So in this, I would anticipate 7 showings usually generate 1 contract. So let's say we're going to get maybe 7, 8, 9 contracts. MLS is predicting 9. This is predicting 7. So we got 9 contracts. So all of this predictive analysis is done prior to launching the listing. All the activity, all the marketing, all of the websites, all of the cards that are going out to renters. And I'm analyzing all of this on Tuesday to make sure that our listings are correct. Now, sometimes I tell them, and they know, we don't have a big market for this. We are really in the nosebleed section when it comes to pricing. And then I suggest the price. They can either take it or not take it. But, I am very happy with that. And I'm happy with that because, we are usually in the 85% success rate. So I think that considering that not everybody had a huge success rate, that, we went from 85 to 97, and I credit that with the final phase of what we put in 2020, which is the predictive analysis. So you have a lot of realtors to pick from. So I hope you got a lot out of these. Even if you pick somebody else, I hope you remember first 10 days, the pricing, it's not the what my house is worth, it's the how did you arrive at it. And then how are you going to test that price when the time comes? You just don't throw a price up on the wall and say, I think. There is no I think anymore. There is I know. You need to prepare the house. That video was incredible too. I mean, that took one house on West Street from what could have been a $1.125 million home sale with $8,500 in lipstick and cosmetic surgery. It turned out to be a $1.227 million house, $100,000 profit on an $8,500 investment, and it sold in the first weekend without a home inspection. So these are the kind of things that we're shooting for. That's the services we provide. We provide them at 4.5% as opposed to 6%. And the reason for that is we do a lot of business. Our broker does not participate in our commissions. Because we do so much, we keep all of our commissions. They'll make money on our mortgage banking and our, settlement and title and all that other stuff. So I take those savings, I pass those on to our sellers. So 4.5%, you don't have to pay more than that. And you should not accept, less than getting that house sold in the first 30 days. My name is Casey Samson from the Casey Samson Team. You can reach me at 703-508-2535. When you call, I pick up my phone. Or you can email me at casey@caseysamson.com.